We're back, and an awful lot of you have been waiting for this night for a number of reasons. My guests are Clif High and George Ure, the two gentlemen behind halfpasthuman.com. Adventures in Future Viewing, without question one of the most fascinating and I think important websites and efforts ever made by two people in Internet history. I think this is extraordinary. For those of you who don't know, let me just briefly run over it, and I'll read right from their page, in fact. Here at Half Past Human, we forecast the future. We are not alone in forecasting the future. All humans do it to some degree. Just a quick search of the Internet will provide dozens of forms of future forecasting. Some use astrology, some use other methods. We employ a technique based on radical linguistics to reduce extracts from readings of dynamic postings on the Internet into an archetypical database. With this database of archetypical language, however you want to pronounce the word, we calculate the rate of change of the language. We calculate the rate of change of the language. The forecasts of the future are derived from these calculations. Our calculations are based on a system of associations between words and numeric values for emotional responses from those words. These emotional impact indicators are also of our own devising. They are attached to a database of over 300,000 words. This database of linked words and phrases and emotions is our lexicon from which the future forecasting is derived. You can subscribe to these just fascinating reports. They come out regularly. And George and Clif are back with us tonight. I know many of you have probably many questions you'd like to ask them. We have 2 hours. We're going to cover many issues. So let's welcome back first our friend George Ure. Hi, George. Great to have you back again.
Pleasure to be here. We just got over some thunderstorms, so if you hear some thunder in the background once in a while, it's just East Texas trying to be East Texas here in the Tornado Alley area.
It's not the asteroid.
Oh, no, not yet.
No, the asteroid has impacted. Let's say hello to Clif, and I'll bring you all up to date on this. Hi, yeah. Clif. Welcome back.
Hello, sir. Where are we headed tonight?
We are headed somewhere over northern Sudan. If the predictions were correct, asteroid 2008 TC3 has hit our planet, exploding in the atmosphere over northern Sudan like a kiloton of TNT and creating a fireball as bright as a full moon. Most of the asteroid should have been vaporized in the atmosphere with only small pieces reaching the ground as meteorites. Stay tuned for reports and photos. This from spaceweather.com. Spaceweather.com is right on this story from the beginning. So apparently it's a done deal. It was only about 2 meters across, that's 6 feet plus 4 inches. So not a very big issue. The thing about these meteors and asteroids that we don't really feel comfortable with, I think I can speak for most all of you, is that apparently, if you can believe the government, and there's a caveat, they don't always find these things until they're virtually upon us. This one was found apparently today, or at the latest last night. Now, I'm reminded of the story of a couple of years ago. Maybe some of you remember it. There was one asteroid larger than a huge city bus, which allegedly wasn't found until it was already past us between the Earth and the Moon. So they missed that one. And that's the kind, I guess, you worry about. So at any rate, October 7th is a key date, but it wasn't, I guess, related to this particular meteorite. First, let's say anything from you guys you want to put on the table about this meteorite?
It's part of our 20% of the language that we expected to be related to the Terra issue. Correct. And remember, we've also had a series of alarming earthquakes at the juncture of Tajikistan and one of the other stands today, and also aftershocks into China. So that language is certainly rising, and we're starting to see some of that release language show up now.
Okay, very good. Now that's a hit.
And Jeff, one other thing. We've had some thunderstorms developing, so Although it's not especially out of the ordinary for this time of the year, we could maybe see some tornadoes overnight in the lower Midwest.
And guess what's happening up here? We're having basically tropical storm level winds that'll be impacting us at about 2 a.m. our time and continue to about 9 a.m. and are expected to knock power out in the area from Everett north.
Now that's
probably
interesting.
In greater Puget Sound as well.
Yeah, that's the Seattle area, and to have something like that overnight is unusual. So when you heard Clif mention the 20% Terra, T-E-R-R-A factor in their projections, they were talking about Earth events, meteors, storms, earthquakes, and so forth. So that's a hit. You got a hit on that part. George, go ahead and outline the overall October 7th issue, and we'll hear from Clif as well on that, if you would.
Well, the October 7 issue, as of noon today, the last time Clif and I have really huddled on this, we had not yet transferred into release language. We were still in building tensions. And even though the stock market at one point during today's trading session was down almost 800 points, we still did not get the emotional release that we anticipate will occur in the financial markets. That seems to be still ahead of us. Even though there was some last-minute buying in the Dow that held the loss to 300-odd points.
That's the plunge protection team at work.
Yeah, more than likely plunge protection team. And we still have a lot of unwinding to go. The CDS players are going to be looking at their holdings over the next couple of days and deciding if they're going to deliver bonds or take cash. And if they take the cash option, we could still see some more unwinding of equity into the marketplace. And also the internal dynamics, there's two ways to read it. One way to read it is that a bottom is in, but a second way to read it, and really important because like at the moment we're seeing the Hang Seng is down greater than 4%. We could see the problems of Europe continue cascading tomorrow. And in fact, there's some speculation that maybe Iceland and Germany will break away from complete locking into the euro as they try to come up with some solutions to their banking problems.
October 7th doesn't necessarily have to be restricted to the United States. This is a large reach that your data pulls in.
Right, and this is a global phenomenon.
Right.
Yeah.
Clif, go ahead.
I was going to say it's truly a global phenomenon. The key thing for me today was the failure of the Icelandic currency. The reason I say that is because it matches linguistics that we'd shown where we were talking about loss of the currency. We keep referring to that within what we call our Populous USA entity, which is a proxy for the everybody that lives within the continental United States and is subject to all of the conditions here. And we kept seeing that the dollar was going to die. And so now we're seeing, and it was going to have huge repercussions on currencies around the planet because so many of them are indeed pegged to the dollar or backed in some way by it. And we're talking about an epic level of events here. Truly, it's like everybody should congratulate ourselves real quick for living in such absolutely stupendous times. I mean, never before have we ever seen change on this level, and we haven't even started yet.
Whether or not October 7th is the day is really irrelevant because what's going on now is unprecedented in human history when you consider the totality of the involvement of the countries, the continents, the entire economical financial systems that are literally imploding. And this all has been coming to a head over the last several weeks, and I think it's building to an enormous crescendo now in Europe. We aren't even close to being finished, as you said, here in the United States. This thing can cascade on and on and on. Clif, there's one thing I want to go into very briefly, and then we'll get right back to George, who is the economist amongst the three of us tonight. This language, this building language to on or about October 7th, began a long time ago. And I'd like you, if you would, you've done it before, but please overlay the September 11th attacks and the language before and after that and what we're dealing with now.
Okay, we're in kind of the very tail end, the last minutes actually, leading up to about, we picked 10 minutes after 7 a.m., Universal Time Coordinates, or Greenwich Mean Time.
Which puts it 1:10 Pacific time, a.m.?
12:10 p.m.
12:10?
Yeah, I believe so.
So 4 hours from now?
Correct. And we picked that time out of a range because we saw that we were going to tip into release language. Building language has started in January. It's been running up to this point. We're going to tip over and go into a 5-month spread that is like 9/11 kinds of emotions, only they don't last 10 or 11 days. They just keep going on and on and on.
Okay,
and on.
Hold on right there. We're going to come back and revisit that and lay it out. This is unprecedented in Clif and George's 10 years of research doing what they do so extremely well. The website is halfpasthuman.com. I would urge all of you who are interested in this, and I hope that's all of you, to consider subscribing to their